Using FTMO, I'm going to give you the 5 steps to follow that by the end will have you walking into your boss's office, handing in that 2-week notice. That sounds freaking awesome. Let's get right into it. Hey guys, my name is Matt L. If you're new here, I'm a full-time Forex trader living in Montreal, and I'm also studying naturopathy on the side. Now that we're friends, please hit that subscribe button and we'll jump right into it. Even before getting funded, the second after watching this video, you should start saving up 6 to 12 months of expenses. Now, I already hear some people saying, but Matt, saving is boring. There's no way I can save that much. And to those people I say, I don't care. Having a boss is way more boring than having to skip out on some takeout or going out with friends. Sacrifice is the name of the game. Saving 6 to 12 months of living expenses and having that in your bank account will dramatically lower the level of risk and the level of stress that you'll be taking on when you do decide to become a full-time trader. The first month that I had when I was funded was great, but the 2 months after that were a lot slower. You never know what's gonna happen with trading, and so you need to have that buffer. Saving 6 to 12 months of expenses will not only lower your level of stress once you quit your job, but it will also instill the habit of saving, which is crucial if you're going to be a full-time trader. You have absolutely no idea when that next paycheck is coming. Being a Forex trader is a lot like being a real estate agent. You could cash a fat check this week, but you might not get one for 3 months. So it's crucial that you start instilling the habit of saving if you haven't already, if you're going to become a full-time trader. There's no way around it. So if you're still with me, let's go on to the second step. The second step is just about getting consistent. So many traders take the FTMO challenge long before their trading has any type of consistency. So instead of wasting your money on a challenge that you're gonna fail, get consistent first. Even if you manage to pass the challenge, you're not going to miraculously become a fantastic trader just because you managed to over risk and pass the challenge. Wait until you're consistently profitable week in and week out, until you know your system really well, what you're looking for, and then take the challenge, which is step number 3. If you want to quit your job, assuming you don't have really deep personal pockets, you're gonna need to get funded. I recommend going with either FTMO or Funding Talent. I made a video recently that I'll link up somewhere around here comparing the two that will help you decide which one is right for you. Since you're only going to take the challenge once you're consistent, I'm going to assume that you pass and that you do become funded, which will bring us to step number 4. Now that you have a funded account, this is the point that most people run to their boss's office, hand in that 2-week notice, and go full-time. But I'd like to encourage you to have just a little bit of patience, even though you can see the finish line. Before quitting your job, I recommend you trade the live account for a couple of months to see how you're doing and to further develop your consistency. It's really easy to fall into the trap of now seeing the shiny live account and the potential that you can make, but it's only a potential. You have to wait until money actually starts hitting your bank account, until you actually start getting those payouts. Trading a live account often changes your mindset from what it was when you were doing the challenge or trading a demo account or even a small personal account. A $100,000 funded account can mess with your mindset a little bit. So I encourage you to trade it for a couple of months, get used to it, work out any kinks and any differences in your mentality that you might have, get comfortable with it, and then it'll be time to seriously consider going full-time. This is something that's often overlooked, but if you just wait a couple of more months and continue to develop as a trader, I think it will really make a difference in the level of stress that you do or don't experience once you become a full-time trader. Trading a 6-figure account takes a different mindset. Seeing larger numbers than you're used to fluctuate takes an adjustment. So I think getting comfortable with the account and further developing your consistency is an often overlooked step on the journey, but I think it's something to consider. Just because you made 10% in a month to pass the challenge doesn't mean you're going to make 10% in your first month being a trader. You can make way less, or you could even lose money on the account. So take a little bit of time, take a deep breath, and just trade it for a couple of months until you see how you're doing with things. And now, step number 5. So at this point, you've built up your consistency, you've built up your confidence, and you're trading a 6-figure funded account. And on top of that, you have at least 6 months, but ideally 12 months of life expenses saved up in your bank account. If you followed all of these steps, it's probably time to consider taking the plunge. When it comes time to seriously consider whether to leave your job or not and become a full-time trader, it takes a fine line between facing your fear and knowing when it's the right time. The truth is, there's never going to be an absolutely perfect time. I know for myself, I jumped the gun a little bit. I was working full-time as a manager and a barista when I decided to move to the city with my girlfriend. At that point, my trading wasn't 100% consistent, and I had only just recently found out about FTMO. But I knew that if I didn't take this opportunity and I just went and got another job, I would never face that fear and just try my very best to become a full-time trader. I had about a year's worth of expenses saved up, and so after after a little bit of consideration, I decided to just take the plunge and try and become a trader full-time. Fortunately, I went on to get funded by FTMO, and things have been going really well since. I think something that might help is to look at it from a risk to reward perspective. For me, the worst possible outcome was that I blew a year's worth of savings and that I had to go get another job. But the reward was huge. I would never have to work for somebody again, I would have no limit on the amount of money that I could make, and I would most likely be making a lot more than I would working just a regular job. So that was my risk to reward profile, and for other people it might be a lot different. If you have a lot of responsibilities, a family, bills to pay, a mortgage, your worst case scenario might be a lot worse than mine. And so that's something to consider. It's important to remember that you're becoming a full-time trader to live a better life, not a worse one. If quitting your job and trying to do this full-time is just going to increase your stress exponentially, then wait, there's no rush. You want to do it when the time's right, but don't let any fears that you may have stop you from taking the plunge when you know that it's the right time to do it. And when the time is right, soak up that moment knowing that it was a long road to get there. Those are the 5 steps to follow that I recommend if you guys want to take FTMO, use it to become a full-time trader and quit your job. Let me know in the comment section down below what step you guys are at, what you think of the process, and if you have any other recommendations that helped you become a full-time trader or how close you are. It's always nice to hear from you guys. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.